Brooke is someone I've always held high. He's a guy I miss. I'm sure, sure at your end too. But like for the audience that didn't know him, like how did that relationship keep going after the Lost Boys? Did it this always be, or did you guys catch up down the road years later?
Well, this is the funny thing, because I didn't meet any of these guys early on in '87, or I wrote the song in October of '86, and I didn't meet any of them until 2000. I spoke with Brooke, got a hold of me at one point and said, "You should be coming out doing these shows with us, man." And I didn't really. I was just at that point. It was the early 2000s, and I didn't really. I'd been asked to do a couple of HorrorCon things. I think I went to, but not to the extent where it was with the boys, So I didn't meet any of them until then. And Brooke and he was the first convention I did was Monster Mania.
The best.
And it was in 2008, I think it was. And so that's when I met all of them,
Wow. Okay.
The Coreys. And Brooke was so wonderful and so embracing. It's just, he helped me understand what it was. I didn't I just knew I was to show up, and I didn't even have anything prepared, and
early 2000 is when the conventions started to explode. Like there was conventions going on through the 90s, but like the business that it is today across all of America, so you kind of came in right at the beginning. It makes sense.
It was a tremendous eye opener.
Yeah.
It had a sense of like community, of like, wow, this is really incredible. Obviously I was making a lot of money off the soundtrack, etc. When, from the album sales and whatever, all of the various performance factors of what it was doing with the film and etc. But it was just an eye opener to, my God, meeting these fans and, and just seeing the whole culture of horror.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my line being so long, and I said to Brooke, I said, "How long do we do this for?" And he said, "Oh, about 4 hours." And then you get a break, and I said, but it was quite enjoyable, because people were coming up and just telling me stories about how my song affected their lives. And I had like a bag of mail, 2 big bags of mail at Atlantic Records before I did a convention. They called me up and said, "You've got all this mail up here," obviously because the soundtrack was on Atlantic, as I mentioned, and we don't know what to do with it. So if you want to come and pick it up, otherwise we'll just throw it away. So I remember I just finished up producing Roger Daltrey's solo album, Rocks in the Head. And I just got back to New York. And I got that message. And I went up and I started going through all of this mail. And I went like, good Lord. I was reading all these letters. I actually posted some last year. I took the 20, what I thought to be the 20 best out of thousands upon thousands of letters, like handwritten letters. And they were just, compelling. I said, my God, one letter was talking about a girl and her younger sister had passed on from leukemia, but they used to listen to Cry Little Sister all the time. And that was the last thing she had her headphones on as she passed away. And
wow.
So the power of it's those times when you realize you have value,
Yeah.
It's not just making a living doing what you're doing. You have value.
It's good to touch and connect with people. It's amazing.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so Brooke, during that whole period when we were at Monster Mania, it was another eye opener. And then I had no idea he was a musician and how good of a drummer he was. And until we just jammed one time in my room. And I just said, "Oh my God, you're incredible." And he said, "No, I play drums. The acting thing just came along at a point where I thought, well, maybe I could do that." And but we went on the road together, not just conventions, but we went out and played gigs and would pack them in. And he was just the best, you know. I mean, I'm honest to God, when he was getting ill, I remember the last gig we did was at the Roxy here in LA, and we had an incredible night. I mean, with you know, but there were times it would just be him and me going out on the road and just percussion and acoustic guitar, and it would sound amazing.
Yeah. Brooke was like completely full heart because he talked to anyone was invited. Wherever he was going at the convention, he had like 15 people tailing him at all times. And I remember when we got back in the early days of Monster Mania, when we had the suites, like we would bring up the guests and kind of really Fort Knox it. Like, you know, we don't know you, you're not coming in. We want this to be a place where guests could come and just let their hair down. And I remember you being there and Chance and Billy. And when Brooke would leave and go downstairs to have a cigarette, he'd come back up and he'd have 15 people tailing him. He'd be like, Lauren, is this cool? Be like, Brooke, I'm going to kill you. Yeah, come on in. There's 15 people walking around our party that like, so as soon as that Brooke would leave, we'd be like, sorry, you got to leave. Sorry, you got to leave.
Dear.
Yeah, but like, those are the things I can remember.
He was like my Keith Moon, but a little bit more tame. You know, I remember Roger Daltrey saying, he said, my God, what a drummer this guy is. He said, he was one of the actors in Lost Boys. I said, yeah. And he was going, this guy's incredible. And I said, yeah, he's got a little Keith Moon in him. Mm-hmm. He said, I hope he doesn't have that mad, crazy side that we had to put up with. And I said, not as bad.
Yeah, definitely the most personable person I've ever.
Yeah, he was great. So we spent so much. We got to know each other so well. He was a great father. He was incredibly. Brooke was always on time. Always, he never disappointed. You know, and that's what a solid friend is about. We both had that. I mean, we spent so much time on the road, and we never had a row ever, and we just were always coming up with cool things, you know. We got each other, clearly.
So you'd say, in a way, the Monster Mania convention rebirthed it all, like got your unit back together, the Lost Boys unit back together. Would you say that? Because you never really you say you never hung out before, right?
No. I mean, I met them all in 2008 at Monster Mania.